say all men are created equal.
Shaq Master!
I pull out the Glock. Full of suffering, succotash, son.
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass! You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Too Sweet with Lucy and Estelle. And it's Thursday, so you know what that means. We're recording our Dynamite review today, and 2 weeks on the trot. I think we are so back. And speaking of being so back, we've got an exciting special episode in the pipeline, which will hopefully be coming very soon. We're going to be interviewing another promoter. So if you're not familiar, we did do one a few months back now with Andy from Knockout Wrestling. And we're going to be doing one with Chris from Atomic Pro Wrestling. So it's kind of similar. They've got an anniversary show coming up and we want to talk to them all about it. And if you're not familiar with Atomic, you should definitely give them a Google, give them a check out. They're one of the coolest promotions in the UK at the moment. So keep your eye out for that. And if you've got any questions at all that you want us to bring to that interview, then comment them below, let us know, and we will ask Chris himself all the good stuff, all the juicy questions. So yeah, get your questions in as soon as you can. Don't miss out. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about AEW, and we're getting pretty hot for Dynasty. And I just want to off the bat quickly say I found this episode of Dynamite went by super fast. I found it really entertaining. What about you, Estelle?
Overall, I did really enjoy this week's episode of Dynamite. I thought the Kenny stuff was the standout part of the episode. Definitely really excited to talk about that and how he was presenting himself and the match. Speaking of matches, there was some solid wrestling on there. Really enjoyed the opening match. Obviously, Swerve and Kenny, Tekla, Mina Shirakawa as well, and Darby and Roosh kind of gave what it needed to give. At the same time, though, I did feel like, and it's not necessarily criticism, although maybe it is. It's not necessarily saying that certain matches were bad, but I did feel like there was a lot of matches that felt very Collision-esque. Like the matchups, they weren't as star-studded as they have been the card during the previous weeks, which is fine. You know, sometimes people need TV exposure, and the people that did have TV exposure were new acts they were kind of testing out. So you had Top Flight with, what was it, Zeta Steel, and you had the Dogs debut. Well, they've both been on the show before, but as a tag team, you had them again and picking up quite a big win against Roddy and Orange Cassidy. So, you know, I'm not mad at it, but there was a lot of times where it was like, okay, like Mike Bailey versus Rocky Romero. It's like, is this necessary? Is this building towards stuff? But then it also seems like it is, because like later on we had Bailey speaking to Kenny backstage, and it seems as though, well, I'm really hopeful Kenny picks up the belt and that'll play into it later, of Mike Bailey coming back to challenge. So maybe it's just like that continuous reminder of, oh, this person's the presence. But yeah, there were just there were certain matches that didn't set my world on fire, is basically what I'm trying to say. But and then the other point that I wanted to make about the show overall is just the creative at the minute. See, especially with the main players, is very interesting, and it's very clear that there's stuff going on and stuff is cooking. Like, obviously the fact that the main event went to Derby is quite significant. I mean, I know he had the angle where he was taken out at the behest of MJF, but I think also it's that thing of they really want to push Derby as like a legit main event top guy, someone who can challenge for the title, someone who can run that program, which they've been trying to push him in that way for a while now. So, and I still am kind of a bit like the boy who cried wolf about it, like, oh, okay, are we actually doing it? It's like the Daniel Garcia push. It just feels like being edged. Are we actually doing it? But there is a lot of intrigue with like Ospreay, Kenny, MJF, Hanger, even though he wasn't on the show, Swerve. There's clearly, when you're watching the show week on week, there's a lot of gears moving, and
Mm.
for me, it's really keeping me engaged. It's one of the main reasons that I look forward to tuning in week on week, is that kind of progression. And one thing I would not describe the product as right now is stale. It is the opposite of stale. It's very fresh and very forward moving. And another thought that I had, so just kind of in general at the minute, is I think something that's very contagious with with regards to that is just how, oh, I've just gone massive, with how invested and how bought in the top guys are in the company. I mean, they always have been. Like, MJF's always been a very pushing for AEW in interviews in media, even with his heel shtick. You've got Osprey, obviously, who is an absolute media darling. I'd be paying him extra on his salary for how positively and how highly he talks about the company. You've got Kenny, Swerve. All these guys are so passionate, and so when they're talking about the belt and they're talking about the prestige of the title, it feels very legit. It feels very authentic. And I'll say that, about WWE as well, to be fair, like, obviously it is more of an outsider perspective, but it does feel like the top guys there are very bought in to what they're selling, which
Mm.
I think is a
Like
good
committed.
thing. I think within AEW's past, it hasn't always been the case that, like, there's been that kind of equilibrium at the top of the card. So the fact that the creative's flowing, the matches are flowing at the top, and there's high morale, and people really want to be there, and they really believe in what they're selling,
Mm.
is leading to a really good week on week product.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can tell that people want the best for AEW and they feel passionately about being there and they feel happy to work there. You don't get the sense that anyone's like disinterested or disconnected from the company, which is good. And yeah, I think Tony Schiavone said it on commentary this week that like I don't think we've ever had this many players in the main event scene that all vying for that championship. And I think him pointing that out was very true. There's definitely like I know we've talked about it loads, but it's great that there's so many moving parts in the main event scene. And like obviously you always want to tell that story like everyone wants to be the top guy in AEW like kayfabe wise, but I truly do believe that's actually true backstage. Like I do feel like there is that passion and that drive to be seen as good enough to be world champion and to lead the company. So yeah, I think you're right. But I hear exactly what you're saying about this episode. Feels like I mean you said like it's fresh and like week on week it does feel fresh and I completely agree and I think maybe to that point is that kind of what they're trying to do with some of these matches that are like just a bit weird and they seem a bit out of left field. Like what's this really contributing towards? This feels a bit collision-y. Are they trying to put on fresh matches, like matches that are new and different and like showcasing different people? But yeah, there was definitely moments in this episode where you're like, this is kind of random. But we'll get into it as we get into the review. But was there anything
Yeah.
else you
I
wanted to
mean,
add at the top before we get into it?
I get the impression that because people have moved up the card, obviously there is more at the top. The mid card's moved up, the prestige has moved up, so there is space now on
Mm,
the lower end of the card for these people. And top flight, they've been trying to make work for ages. They've swapped people out, swapped people in. They've had time on TV and then disappeared. And
hmm
yeah, I mean, obviously I'll say some of my thoughts for the actual when we fucking get into things, but to me that was kind of why they're trying to do that. Either A, this person's important, don't forget them. This is squash match, they're very strong. Hee hee,
mm.
wink wink, panto, they're important. Or it's like, oh, this is like the dogs. Like this is an act that we really want to push and we want to push strongly. It was just the instance that there was like a few of those kind of match styles on the card. And I think as well, like to your point about it being legit that people do want to be the top guys out in AEW. I think it's because as well, like there is that level of there isn't really handouts in AEW.
Right.
Like unless you are at like an Adam Copeland level or a Kenny Omega level, like people like that have walked into the company, yet they have a top spot because they are a draw. So it'd be kind of ridiculous if they weren't. But a lot of the people at the top or going to the top, Tony Khan's booking style is very much like you eat shit for a while, you take your losses, and
You earn
if
it.
you can take your losses graciously and get over, and there is a conditioning there, and it may be frustrating, and it may mean that the iron isn't always struck while it's hot or opportunities are missed, but the people who are at the top, like I say, that kind of morale, that kind of equilibrium, something's kind of working there because the people who are there seem to have good resolve and good an understanding that the product is bigger than them. They're
Mm.
not like there needs to be an element of teamwork, an element of getting each other over, and that it comes across anyway that is understood for the most part by most people. And I guess just talking overall before we get in commentary, so Taz was back this week, which was definitely
Hallelujah.
needed.
Our prayers were answered.
Yeah, but I did feel like commentary this week was still quite poor and still quite disjointed. There was still elements. There was one really funny one. I think it was to Tony Schiavone a lot of the times during Darby Allin and Rush's match. I just started bringing up a completely different thing randomly, and it
Mm.
just, I don't know. I don't even think it's necessarily the commentator's fault. Clearly, it's something coming through headset of like poor timing of like push this, push this. Oh, what was it? It was like a random fact of like, oh, this person, this match is happening. It was something to do with that blackjack bloody battle royale match stipulation thing, and it was like, oh well, this person eliminated this person, so that's why the match happens on Collision. And Excalibur was like, I don't think Darby Allin cares about that, bro.
Yes, I
There was just
remember that. And it was like,
like a lot of
bro.
disjointedness.
Yes.
I don't know what's they just I don't know whether they need some time off and some holiday. They're just coming
Yeah.
across as like very fried, and the commentary at times was just a bit poor. Like with Taz coming back, he was like, I'm not shitting on it. It just is observations, and I do get it. Like doing, I mean, you'd know more than most. Like you do commentary, but even like doing the podcast, there are cliches, and you do say the same things over and over. But there was several points where it's like, oh, super kicks. We've seen a lot of super kicks, and some of them are good, and this person's really good at it. And well, what can you say? It was wrestling that there was moves, like that was kind of the level of commentary at points, and it was just like Jesus Christ, like I don't know what's gotten into them at the minute, but they're really out of sorts.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. I think that Tony Schiavone needs a rest because he does Collision too. So I think what you said about them needing some time off is so true. Because my God, that's really not easy. Um, the thing that made me laugh the
Yeah,
most
Rush as
was
well.
when.
Have you seen? I did send you the clip on TikTok, but just speaking of Collision, what the hell's going on with Leo
Oh
Rush?
yes, yes, I did see it actually, and I did reply to it. I replied saying, "Kill this man with hammers," because what the fuck?
My
Genuinely,
sleep paralysis demon.
yeah, it really gives me the creeps. Really not nice to look at. Gonna be giving kids nightmares in the crowd. Um, but yeah, one of my the thing that made me laugh the most was when Darby Allin did these stupid spots. Taz was audibly just laughing on commentary. He was corpsing. He wasn't even like selling it. He was laughing. I was like, same, hun. Honestly, same. But yeah, I'm just grateful that we've got Taz back. I think he it was refreshing to hear his beautiful voice again. But
Yeah.
yeah, we kicked off with Kenny versus Swerve, so that was like quite surprising, right? Jesus Christ. Obviously this would easily be a main event, so it was quite surprising when this opened the show. And it was that big stipulation that they've been building, which is the number one contendership versus the EVP status. Um, which I guess we'll talk about that more when we get to the result, but let's talk about the match for a little bit first. Swerve was kind of cheating throughout, trying to get the upper hand that way. They were brawling outside. Kenny was pulling out the big moves. Kenny looked absolutely fantastic in this, I have to say. Um, it felt like quite a quick, fast-paced match, so we didn't really waste any time before we got to the big moves. So really kicking off the show in a really sort of big way. Kenny did like a moonsault, which was really crisp. He did like a back superplex off the top rope. Insane. Yeah, and like I said, Swerve was trying to cheat. He grabbed Aubrey, he low blowed Kenny. What about them fighting on the barricade? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I know they kind of lost the balance at first, but then they got back up and Swerve hit Kenny with a fucking pile driver on the barricade. I mean, that was wild. And so it was like Swerve like kind of seemed kind of desperate throughout this, but Kenny kept on kicking out. Big pressure to Swerve stomps, really near fall. Um, and then Kenny hit the V trigger, was going for the one-winged angel. Strickland raked his eyes and then hit the vertebraker, which, oh my God, that's a horrible move, by the way. That's up there with like the Gonzo bomb as like one of the most dangerous looking moves. And Kenny only just kicked out. And then Kenny hit the V trigger again and the one-winged angel for the win. So it was like Swerve's desperation and the attempted like nasty tactics, the really dangerous moves just didn't pay off for him. Kenny was just that bit better. And it was almost as if like Swerve knew he couldn't outclass Kenny and was trying to work around it, but even then he still wasn't good enough to beat him. So it's like Kenny's on this whole new level. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised by the outcome. I was not expecting Kenny to win. I think just
Mm,
with the Kenny
I
booking
know.
and even later on when they were saying, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, I've beat Kenny. Oh yeah, I've beat Kenny." I and especially because the angle they're kind of taking with Swerve is he's the most dangerous man, and like I just felt like it was going to end up with like a bit of tomfoolery and Swerve kind of destroying Kenny. Like that kind of felt like the predictable
Yeah,
sort of outcome. So I was taken aback, and I also feel like the match formatically felt like it was going to go longer than it did,
yeah,
but it cut off at like a night. It was like to me a surprise point. It wasn't like a. I was like,
yeah.
oh, this is going to be a kick out, or I didn't
That's kind
actually.
of what I meant when I said that it was like it felt like a quick, fast-paced match. Like we got through all the stages fast and then it was over. It could have easily been a long drawn out thing and it really wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a bit slow to start with, and I thought choosing to put it on first was a choice. Having said that, seeing the rest of the show and seeing what they intended to do, I understood. And then having said that, seeing like sitting through the entire match, I could understand more why there was such a slow start because it did kind of goad you into like, oh, well, this is going to be like a third, second, third gear type of match. But it was more like I felt anyway like we were still kind of in the second point of the match going into the third, and that was undercut when Kenny was able to get the victory. There was a lot of gnarly moves, like as you said, being dropped on your head on the barricade, disgusting. Um, and the feats of strength were just incredible. It wasn't necessarily like a
Mm,
reversal, boom, boom, chin wrestling kind of match. It was a I do a big move, you do a big move, but like times 30, and you're thinking, how the hell these are I just couldn't stop thinking during this match, these men are so strong. Like, Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
so
Um,
true.
but no, I was really into it and really happy with the outcome, really intrigued.
Yeah, and I think that Kenny Omega versus MJF is a more tasty, promising meal than personally to me than Swerve versus MJF would have been. But I also think how interesting would it have been if Swerve was EVP and isn't it strange that they put that on the line and made like that quite a quick, snappy storyline that was just over and like, oh, we'll just figure out that happened because he isn't. I don't know, that feels like it should be a major story point.
But then also that kind of goads you a bit, doesn't it? Like, oh, why would they put it on the line if he's not
Yeah,
going to lose it? So, um,
very true.
yeah,
Yeah, I just
yeah.
think
So
that Kenny, I can't imagine. It'd be strange for him to not have that title. So it's kind of like he's the constant, he's the reliable one who you can rely on to like guide the company in the right direction. I suppose like the story perhaps is like, when it matters the most to him, he'll get the job done. And well, we'll talk more about it later because he does come back a couple of times in this show to talk about things. So we're not done with you, Mr. Omega. Um, After this match, we had a Darby Allin little video package, which, you know what? I will actually say this. I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty badass, to be honest with you. Something about good video editing that just can make anything seem really fucking cool. He said that he stands for everything that AEW represents, and there was video clips of him doing all this badass stuff, including going up Everest and what have you. So, yeah, nice little video to remind you about Darby, who was going to be in the main event. And then Osprey was talking to, I think he was he talking, yeah, was he talking to Renee? He was just talking to the camera, wasn't he? And he was like,
oh, it's made me laugh.
he
This made me laugh.
it was absolutely brilliant. He was
Jesus
like,
Christ.
um, something about Pac said that he shook it. It's ever since he first shook Osprey's hand, he knew he was. I can't remember exactly what the words were, a dickhead, basically. And Osprey was like, well, I don't remember ever shaking your hand. It's typical for a Geordie to lie, and he should keep his big nose and ears out of his business. And they're going to wrestle next week. Bit of revenge for what happened last week. And then Osprey started addressing Moxley and said, um, basically, maybe I should be grateful to you because I had some time out and I spent some time with my kid. But that gratitude won't replace the fear that my son experienced when you snapped my neck in front of him. And he said, I'm going to alter your life just like you've done mine. I want you at Dynasty, you motherfucker.
I think just the ridiculousness of the campness of we get it, you love your family. Fuck me, never forget a
Haha!
most dangerous man title. Let's fight
Yeah!
over who loves their family the most. It
Yeah.
was just so out of pocket and ridiculously like the intonation of the promo, I guess if you were to break it down, that there has to be a point where your voice has to project the most, where you have to be in the camera, you have to be at the heightened of your promo. I'm not a promo fucking class instructor, but that if you break down the mechanics of it, that should not have been the part at which you were that, okay. It was ridiculous. I love my son. Okay.
That's
Bro,
hilarious.
like
That's so fucking true. And the way the camera kept on zooming slowly closer to his face as well, I've found quite humorous as well. But yeah, that definitely is one of the things that we should have mentioned last week when we were talking about things that just get rehashed over and over again in wrestling. It's like the classic family bit. Oh, my family, oh, my kids, oh, my mum, blah, blah, blah. That
an
is
X Factor sob story.
literally so true. So fucking true. So that was that. That was that. Osprey getting pretty heated and dropping an F-bomb again. After that, we had a tag team match, a mixed tag team match, which is pretty nice to see. Top Flight and Zeta Seal versus the Death Riders, which we've briefly talked about. This was, I mean, longer than I would have expected. The hometown crowd were hot behind Top Flight, and they, typical of a Death Riders match, like they let their opponents get quite a lot of stuff in and really get themselves over with like high flying offense. The Death Riders were selling their asses off. I thought the triple suicide dive was really cool from Top Flight, or is it Sky Flight? because I feel like they called them both, or I don't know. We're gonna go with Top Flight. Um, Daniel Garcia was sort of. I felt like he was quite good in this in terms of like character work. He was teasing like doing his face stuff, the dance that people for some reason love, but then didn't do it. Um, and we had Moxley and Marina Shafir going full heel. Not a single mention, unless I tuned it out, of Ronda Rousey this week. Just saying.
Well,
And
yeah, I think the fact that Tony Storm's been announced as being out for the foreseeable year and that
oh
not being
yeah, we should
injury
talk about
related,
that.
and that was speculated to be a pregnancy, which if so, that's absolutely incredible. Hell yeah, love that for her. But it just begs, unless it was like unplanned pregnancy, unplanned announcement, like, oh shit, probably should
Mm.
tell my boss about this, Ronda Rousey's here. Or unless it was just supposed to be a personal favour. I mean, I know Tony Khan loves long term booking, but you can't, surely not, because you can't bank on Rousey being about like in a few. I don't know if it
Oh
was a
no,
test
yeah.
in the waters kind of thing. But then it was weird, wasn't it? Because the week after they'd done the whole, well, who attacked Tony Storm? Oh, who was it? You know, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it just all of it just doesn't really add up. But then
It
things in
doesn't.
the I'm not with the men's division. I look at the main event scene and I know that it's going to all work out. But with the women's stuff, I'm kind of half expecting it to just fizzle into nothing
Yeah,
because there's so many instances where things just don't work in storyline purpose for whatever reason, and
yeah,
rather than resolve it, it's just like, oh well, we don't have the time, so we'll just stick a band-aid over it, like Statlander's face heel bullshit, and Stokely leaving her and not even having like a segment of her. They could have done so many things to kind of, and I don't know whether there was personal issues there, and maybe that's the instance, but there's other instances that I can't think of off the top of my head where there's just not like a lot of foresight or
yeah.
a lot of care there. So I'm just expecting it to just fade away.
Yeah, yeah. It feels a little bit like things are being made up on the fly and instead of being like a long-term thing, whereas there's a lot of thought going into the men's stuff. Sometimes often it feels with the women where it's like it's a bit improvised. It's not long term. It's firefighting when things go wrong. You don't have like a backup plan. You don't have a plan B. So you, like I say, you're firefighting. It's strange, isn't it? Because I don't understand. Yeah, what's what was the Ronda Rousey plan? Is it truly that like Tony Storm has unexpectedly gone out? I don't think I think the pregnancy thing is just a rumor. Obviously, it's not been confirmed, but you know, if she's out for like over a year and it's not injury related, like I can understand why that's where people's brains would go. Um, Strange. It's a strange one. I'm intrigued but kind of fearful to see where it ends up. I feel like I can just imagine the conversation backstage. Oh, we'll just write you off and figure it out later. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it is quite concerning. Um, Nonetheless, though, Marina Shafir still kicking it in the ring, still doing her thing. So, oh, that was a nice little rhyme. Oh, rapper Max Caster, please step aside. So yeah, I mean, as I say, Top Flight was super over. Dante Martin did a drop kick and it got like the loudest pop ever. It was pretty wild. Zayda Steele got a red hot tag. This was her Dynamite debut, but apparently she has history with Marina Shafir, which they didn't really elaborate on commentary. That was a little bit half baked, but yeah, at least there was a little bit of a thread. Wheeler Yuta was on the outside with so much heat, trying to interfere. Christopher Daniels tried to stop him. He got Psycho Need for his efforts, and Zeta Steele took Wheeler Yuta out. That was pretty cool. But then, with all the distractions, that allowed the Death Riders sort of get the upper hand. So Daniel Garcia had the Dragon Tail and locked in on Darius Martin, and then Moxley came in with the stomp for the win. And then at the same time, like Dante Martin was being taken out by Marina. So I really liked the finish. I thought it worked really well. I think it felt um kind of badass. Like they looked I thought the Death Riders looked pretty tough in this one. And I enjoyed the match. I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed it more than I expected to on paper.
Yeah, I think the match was enjoyable. I think Top Flight being in the hometown didn't hurt. I think
Hmm.
Zeta Steel as an addition seems to elevate them. You know, you also had Christopher Daniels on the outside as well. There's just, to me though, like I look at Top Flight and there's so much that's been injected in it, and it feels like a team where there's been several restarts to try to get them to give them that push. They clearly see, and in ring there is that ability, but I just don't buy into it. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
can take this match and I can enjoy the in ring ability, but I really do not feel that this is a team that belongs on the main card of
Mm.
Dynamite. That they do feel very indie. They do feel more
Mm.
like a Ring of Honor team or an occasional Collision team. There is something very much missing, and that thing is charisma. Now, whether Zeta Steel has enough charisma to kind of carry it
Mm.
is another thing, because maybe, in a promo or whatever, but there is no character. They are
Yeah, I
so
totally
flat. They
agree.
are so fucking boring, man.
Hmm.
And I just feel like it's redundant. I feel like we've done it, we've tried it, it doesn't work. Stop rewarding mediocrity. Go and invent a character. Go and invent a personality. Go and invent something. Wear some sunglasses and do something. Crush that
Like
water bottle again, something, and come back to me then.
like Lance
Because,
Archer later
I mean,
on,
even,
he had like sunglasses
yeah,
on. And I was like, oh damn.
even Josh Alexander, he wore like a suit and he put on an angry voice one day. And he's moved up in the vortex a bit now. Rocky Romero's kind of the charisma void for me. Um, but do something. Um, it doesn't. They're one of those teams where they do feel very early Dynamite, and
Ooh,
I don't
that's
know.
valid,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe there is motivation, but when I watch them and how long they've kind of been in the dub, there doesn't seem to be like that motivation, because if there was, surely you'd adjust your character, surely you'd. And I don't think it helps that Dante and Darius, one, their names sound very like, two, they're brothers, three, the
Both got
styles are very
fly.
similar.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too create a wrestler. It's too
very
samey. I'm
true.
sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I know you can't help being related and being good wrestlers and wanting to wrestle together. Um, shit happens, but I don't think that helps at all. And I
No,
kind
I
of look
completely
at
agree.
at the Swirl, and the Swirl, terrible name, bad enough, but I think, to me, that they're very similar teams, and I feel like the Swirl kind of has the edge on them. And I'm not saying that as a charismatic team, don't get me wrong. It's not. But it's just got a little bit more. This is like the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
sorry. Like, I just have to say how it is and
I love
look at the
how
big picture.
you've been especially savage this week, and I kind of love it. But I don't think you're not being unfair in any way, really, because yeah, they there's no like individual um characteristics between the two of them. You can't, they don't have anything that really sets them apart. So yeah, I think you're totally right.
Other than the
And
fact that they were from Minnesota, and that is the only reason
yeah,
people were cheering them, was that crowd connection. If the only reason you can
yeah.
engage with a crowd is because A, you can do a flip, and B, you're from the same city, and half the time you're not in that city, so the only reason you're engaging is because you can do a cool flip. It's just not enough. And we've talked about how much the product's elevated, how high people are up. But, fair enough on Tony Khan, giving him another chance, trying to inject a bit of life. But I'm like, if this version doesn't work, like,
Mm.
there needs to be some serious, serious thought, and less pushing, less, oh well, maybe we just need to get him out more and more. Let's step away from the ring, sit down in the boardroom, and have some deep, serious conversations about our future.
Good Lord.
I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Like, that's
100%.
like where we're at with it.
I mean, I think it needs something quite dramatic, like some like gimmick change or some like even like what you said, like a costume change. Wear some sunglasses, just anything. Give us anything. Yeah, 100%. I think you're right. Um, After that, the Young Bucks had a cute little video which was quite nice, and it was like, yeah, us and Jack Perry were back together. We're like a family again. So that was nice. Offered a little bit of serotonin. And speaking of serotonin, we had the human embodiment of serotonin, Mike Bailey, wrestling Rocky Romero in the next match.
Why have
Um,
I just died?
where have you gone? Disappeared.
I don't know. Just
Ah,
carry on. It's
I'll
fine.
carry
You
on
don't need to see
talking.
my face.
We're, we're
Need
being,
help with your camera.
we're being
Yeah,
deprived,
I think I do, laptop.
being deprived of a cell. Nearly
Of
back.
this visual.
There you are. Um, so yeah, this was one of them matches where you're a bit like, huh, okay, sure, we're on the Dynamite and we'll take up some of these 2 hours with this random match. But what I will say is I'm glad that Speedball got his time to shine because I feel like, did I say a couple weeks back that I was worried he was fading into the background a bit? There was a lot of focus on Kevin Knight. So I can't complain when we're getting him in a singles match. He was being a speedy little guy from the get-go, showing off. Rocky Romero was like being evasive and like cheating to cut him off. But then he started showboating and gets swiftly booted right in the gob, and Speedball then went for the double knees, like 450 to the back, which quite clearly missed. Like he just landed straight on the mat. But no one pointed it out, and it was fine. And that was the end of the match. It was very short, very, very short. So although yes, it's giving Speedball a chance to, I guess, show what he can do in a singles match, it was not not a full display of anyone's skills considering. I mean, it was, I didn't time it. I don't know. It felt like it was less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like what they probably wanted was they wanted to have that backstage conversation with Speedball and Kenny because they want to have that match later on down the line.
Yeah.
And they probably looked at the card and thought, oh, probably would be good to kind of have him wrestle as well that night. Cram him in here. Who's backstage? Oh, Rocky Romero, y'all do. Oh, there's a bit of a star reason behind this. Yeah, let's do this, you know.
Mm.
And like I said, it didn't hurt him, didn't help him. Was totally pointless, but I can appreciate creatively why that would be the decision. However, if we're being really nitpicky, it would have been better for him to look at the full card, allocate a decent amount, at least, you know, a 10-minute match, a more exciting partner where he can kind of go a bit more. But I also appreciate that, you know, can't be perfect all the time, a lot going on, and they cooked in a lot of other parts of the show. So yeah, but it like I say, it's nice to see Mike Bailey after Kevin Knight's sort of push, and he looks so good with the gold. It is only the trios title, but
Mm.
it'll be nice one day to see him kind of. I think he definitely could carry like a mid card title, like the TNT.
Oh, 100%. I hope
Um,
so.
I think he'd be a perfect candidate for that. Yeah, not really much to say on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 100% short and sweet, just like the match was. Completely agree with everything you said. Next up, there was a little video package like recapping us on what happened in the Texas Death Match, MJF versus Hangman. So sort of, I guess, maybe reminding us why we're not seeing Hangman on television, which is perfectly reasonable. And then it kind of led nicely into MJF doing a promo in the ring, being his typical shithousery self. He was,
His best rock impression.
yeah, he was, and just talking complete shit. It was the easiest match of my entire career. The hypocritical, as always, and yeah, I mean, I can't. There wasn't there. It was fine as a promo, but it wasn't really like it. It's just him being a shithouse. There's nothing really else to deeply analyze from it. I don't feel until Kenny's music hit, and I loved the facial expression, the reaction from MJF. It just suddenly dropped, and the camera work there was really good too. And speaking of that as well, I loved the way when Kenny got in the ring and Kenny was talking, the way they did like the angle on his diamond ring, and they sort of had that in focus and then slowly put Kenny in focus. Thought that was really, really nice. Um, so Omega was sort of saying, MJF, you want to call yourself the devil? Well, maybe it's suitable for me to call myself the god, even though I've kind of rejected that. I never want to put myself on a pedestal above other people. But if you want to call me that and you want to call yourself the devil, maybe it's right that I am the god. And he was saying how he never listens to his body, telling him that he needed a break, that he needed medical attention because he felt a responsibility to the fans, and that was his own fault. And MJF beat him and was better than him when he was only 60 to 80% Kenny Omega. And now he's back and he feels like he's pretty close to 100% and probably is better than MJF, and MJF knows it. They agreed verbally to a match at Dynasty, but then MJF refused to shake his hand. And that was that. I liked this a lot. I think that Kenny makes a compelling argument that MJF, yeah, you were able to beat me when I wasn't at my very best. So, and you know in your insecure little self that you can't do it when I'm at 100%. So this makes for, considering this, Omega was only made like #1 contender literally just like half an hour before this happened. I felt like they covered a lot of ground in building this up super quickly, and I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, it was really, really, really cool. This really, really awesome. I feel like, yeah, MJF's shithousery or rage bit at the start, though, I think there is stuff you can take from that because it's him prancing around the ring doing the same old shtick. Every catchphrase he's got,
Yeah,
plus stating very untrue opinions like, oh,
yeah.
it was an easy fight. And
Hmm.
my takeaway from that is just like how vapid it is and how empty of a win it is. All that build up, all that going into it, the fight itself to just walk out and do the catchphrases, and no one's
Mm,
really in kayfabe, I guess. Obviously, people do cheer him, but no one in kayfabe's really cheering him along. He's not really gained anything other than keeping the title. And yeah, it's very vapid. And then Kenny coming out. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This version of Kenny is just everything that we have been crying out for years. For years, I'd say. Um, Wanting him to get back into the top main event scene, but also carry himself in a way of like, you are Kenny fucking Omega, and you don't need to be humble. You don't need to have humility.
yeah,
And it was what, when he was saying his titles and his monikers and the crowd cheering along with it, it's like it's not just a vapid title, it's something that he like people do believe in, and people have given these monikers to him rather than him
right. Yeah.
just crediting himself as it. And I loved the sorry, I'm about to put my laptop on charge. I loved the way that he carried himself in this because there was still an element of camp with the whole God versus the devil thing, which I'm just kind of waiting to go back into the center. I'm sure that'll happen. Yeah, there we go. You know, it was a very different promo style to the Kenny that we used to normally. There is that nonchalance which he definitely carried within this, but there's a bit of lightness, a bit of playfulness, and there was that in this, but it was cutting, and it was brutally authentic, brutally. Um, Everything he said was so cutting. It gave me goosebumps. I was so electrified, and he made me believe. He made me feel things that, for him, that I haven't felt in such a long time. At no fault of his own, obviously being out injured, but he kind of spun the whole story in a way that was, when he first came back and he was kind of presenting it in the way of, I've been injured, might not be able to go, but I'm just here. And then, like, obviously the crowd reaction from that is like, oh, well, we're just really happy he's here. And it's kind of wholesome to this of like, I'm the fucking best. I'm 100%. I'm fucking ready to go. I'll destroy you. I'm Kenny fucking Omega. And it also makes me believe that whether he does or whether he doesn't, I'm really bought into the fact and really invested in this match at Dynasty
Yeah.
and him picking up the win. I am going to be there cheering along, screaming at my screen, glued to every near fall, which isn't really a feeling that as you get older you really get a lot with wrestling, but especially like
Yeah,
Kenny for
so
me being
true.
my favorite wrestler and how much I love him, and I'd kind of put him a bit on the back burner a bit, like, oh, he's still my favorite wrestler of all time, but I probably have other favorite wrestlers who are more active or, more engaged with the product, doing more. Kenny's kind of turned into more of a legacy act, which is absolutely fine. And at his stage in his career, no one will blame that. But I'm wrapped up in the feeling of like, let's go, last run, let's go, let's squeeze out those last few years of great wrestling. You've still got it. I want to see you fucking win. And yeah, I'm really excited and really like the presentation of his character that he's given us right now.
Yeah, and that's so lovely, isn't it, when wrestling makes you feel things again, when it warms up your little your little heart. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely, and I think I love the way that Kenny can invoke these emotions from people, and everything he says that you feel is truly from the heart. So yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
And 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 he undercut MJF in a really interesting way because MJF couldn't rage bait him out of it because it was almost like walking up to the stage, pulling the mask off the actor and just being like, hey, like let's be fucking real. And MJF couldn't be real. And MJF refusing the handshake
Mm,
and walking off to me said more than if he had have responded and if he had have kind of gone on his usual tirade. It said a lot that in that moment, and again, like how hollow that victory over Hangman was in a sense that he couldn't stand and celebrate and bask in it, you
yeah,
know,
right.
and that he can't be authentic in the same aspect that Kenny is, and that he was scared in that moment and so he retreated. And then the fact that later on it was announced that we got the contract signing next week, and if there's any physical altercation, the match will be off. So obviously there'll be a lot of MJF rage baiting next week, so we will still get that element, that back and forth, those vicious promos that he is so good at next week. Because I definitely think but the momentum is so high, and I'm also just so like, yes, credit where credit's true. The Texas Death Match was phenomenal. They really knocked it out of the park. But I was not bought into that program. But it's like I've got my ticket for the party. I'm not gonna be tardy for the party. I've got my fast pass. I'm first on that roller coaster. First, like I'm so bought in and ready for this. Um,
And isn't it impressive that they've
yeah,
managed to do that so quick?
yeah, exactly. It's great.
It is, it is. Um, yeah, love that. Love that. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Yeah, that yeah, contract signing next week where it's yeah, we had that a little bit later, but we might as well touch on it now where yeah, it's basically agreed that if it gets violent at all, then the match is gonna be off. So like you say, it's gonna be MJF trying to bait Kenny. And maybe we'll see it flipped on its head. Maybe Kenny will get under Max's skin and the boot will be on the other foot. We'll see. But I think that'll be good. Definitely. Which often when it's like, oh, it's a contract signing, you're not really that excited for it. But I think it speaks to what they've been able to do this week that actually I am looking forward to that segment.
And I think Kenny is the next program following Hangman is like the perfect slot for him to step up in this moment because it does feel like I guess an eclipse on the world title in that this force of good has tried to fight him in such a violent match, come up short, and because of the stipulation now will not ever ever ever. He also did a great Chris Jericho impression
Oh
midway
yeah.
through that
I
promo.
can't believe I forgot that.
Uh, be able to challenge again, so it does feel like that lightness of and heroic in a sense of some of a greater good kind of stepping in. And it keeps that momentum up, if that makes sense. Even though it's a separate program, it's still that the momentum is there around MJF as champion, and it's not like, oh, another feud, another feud,
Mm,
another feud. Like it doesn't feel like that. I think MJF's having a really great run as champion. Really into it.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. Um, let's move on then to
Yeah, because I could talk forever about it. So yeah, let's move on.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. Um, we had this actually made me laugh. This is such a stupid thing, but Excalibur said Cope and Christian sat down with Renee earlier today. Cuts to the segment and they stood up. I don't know what I'm so simple. But anyway, yeah, we it was Cope and Christian doing an interview, and Christian was brilliant in this. He essentially was getting, you know, we thought like emotional about the fact like getting quite impassioned. How dare you, FTR? You did one of the worst things imaginable. You nearly broke Beth's neck, Cope's wife, the most despicable thing ever. Well, not as despicable as the fact that you did it to me. And just the comedic timing of it, the delivery was so sincere. It wasn't like I'm being an asshole on purpose or I'm trying to be funny. It just was very deadpan. So that was entertaining, but that was that pretty simple.
Then Grandad Copeland tweaking out, um, where it was just like, come on, Grandpa. It's again in promo class 101 with Estelle. The intonation just again was so off. And it just went from like 0 to like, oh fuck. I need to ramp this up. It's nearing the end. And then it was like, ah, and it was like, okay, not every promo needs to end in screaming for it to be a good promo. But I did find it interesting when he was like, oh, like I get being opportunistic, I'm the ultimate opportunist, and I was like, fuck man, I'd really love a heel Copeland.
Oh my God.
Like I would really really love like shades of old. But I am just of that mindset of everyone is better heel within reason. Most people, like 90% of people, there's a 10% where I think, they do work better first. Kenny being one of them. But yeah, I was like, ooh, that'd be that'd be quite tasty. That. Um, but yeah, for this feud, I'm not. I still have the same opinions of like it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
me
just
too.
fine.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, we've talked about it at length. I don't need to go into it, but yeah, it's fine. If you can do something different, a bit different with it than what we saw last time, then great. I'm all ears. But yeah, it's not rocking
Yeah.
my world.
So after this, we then had, well, it was staged as though it was an unplanned segment. FTR crashing the show. Stokely
Same thing we did last
miraculously
week.
standing up. It's an Easter miracle. Jesus rose from the tomb. Stokely rose from the wheelchair. Um, we make choices. Yeah, because the whole thing of Copeland's thing was, you've made choices, and how could you with all of our history? Um, and then they're like, yeah, we've made choices, and look at what we have now, the titles.
Don't give a shit
We
about your
take
kids.
take a back foot to no one. Yeah, you mentored me in 2009, but it's not 2009 anymore. And then Dax had quite a cutting part. He was like, now you're just a nostalgia act. Um, what we did to Beth helps you question if you want to do this, and if I dropped her on her head, what do you think I'll do to you? So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly that. That just sums it up.
Like
It
it's bit like
is
they
what
have a
it
lot
is.
of real history,
Yeah.
and I get that, but it's just like I wasn't there. Like I wasn't there at the gym in 2009. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not that deep into it. Like I wasn't drinking tequila. I wasn't at the family barbecues with the kids with the paddling pools. Do you know what I mean? So like I'm not that, like you're talking about it, but it's very abstract for me. It's an abstract thing. So and the delivery just feels very like it's very obvious that this is two great friends that are just having fun, and
It's not
it's
believable.
very obvious that they don't actually hate each other, which I don't know like what you kind of do about that, but it's just it it's just very obviously scripted. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's just too perfect. It's like, oh, Edge and Copeland versus FTR in this match, and here's our. Do you know what I mean? It's just too cookie cutter, and it's just too. We've waited too long for it to happen. It's happening now. It's fine, but it's not. Oh my God, no one, even the people who love. I like both of these teams. I like every man who is a part of this, but I'm not. I don't think anyone's chomping at the bit. Like, holy shit, guys, what is going to happen? Oh my God. Like, I don't care. I don't care. And it's just,
Me neither.
oh, Copeland and Christian, Edge and Christian, they win the tag titles. That's nice. And if all I'm feeling from a match outcome and the whole reason for a feud is, well, that's nice.
That's
Good for
nice.
them. Good for them to put that on their CV. That's not really enough to incentivize me as a fan. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, it, it
100%.
it it is what it is.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. It's not groundbreaking. It's like we've been there and done that like a long time ago. I kind of got over it and now we're trying to bring it back to life. And it's not really bringing anything new to the table. And also like bringing up things like Beth being like her neck being broken on a pile driver or whatever. That happened so long ago. It's really lost its impact now. I can barely remember it. I'm a wrestling fan. I got short-term memory loss. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's just lost its impact.
But I did like the edge though, lol. Pun towards the
Uh,
end when Copeland was like, "I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna end your careers." I was like, "Oh, okay, Grandad. Oh, wake him up
Unk,
from his nap.
Unk
He's
still
woken
got it.
up. Unc still got it, yeah." Um, but then this led into the next match because Cassidy kind of came out. I mean, they'd kind of ended the promo, but FTR sort of took umbrage. Well, they kind of took umbrage because Cassidy was rage baiting Stoke as though he was about to push him. FTR crashed out. Um, so there was a bit of an attack there. And the following match was Orange Cassidy with Roderick Strong against Clark Connors and David Finlay, who looked very wet. Get that man a towel. He has a very WWE look about him though.
I know what you mean. The
He
like
looks like a WWE superstar. Like
the baby
he has
oil look.
the look. He's oiled up.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, so true. That is a very WWE thing.
Um. Nice. You know, I will say they had very nice attire, very nice ring gear. Like they put a bit of thought into it. So
Mm, I always
you know,
appreciate good ring gear.
other teams could learn from that. You know, maybe Top Flight they just need to get oiled up, some
And wear some
sunglasses.
nice gear.
Yeah, maybe that's a
Maybe
step in
it's
the
as
right
simple as
direction.
that.
I really hate their tights. It's just like the red generic
Create a wrestler.
wrestling tights. Yeah, it's just so bad. Anyway, stop hating on them. Um, yeah, and this match definitely felt a bit collision like for me. I thought Orange Cassidy carried this match quite significantly.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not getting serious from the dog's presentation. In that, I just find him quite comedic and quite like goons, like Disney villains. Like I'm not getting like whoa, like I'm scared. Holy shit, they're gonna break
Mm.
Orange Cassidy's neck. I don't know why. I don't know why that is not happening in my brain. Um, I thought they wrestled very well. They are accomplished wrestlers. You know, they're not new to the game or anything like that. In ring, they have ability. Um, but I wasn't getting that edge, and I feel like that's how they want them to be presented. Um,
100%.
but obviously, it's a bit difficult when they've just had like Dave Finlay, they've just kind of brought over and they've just started having matches, and I guess they're kind of carving out their identity, and they haven't really had mic time and things like that, or like a proper program to get plugged into. Um, so it was the full clip for the win. The Dogs took a victory, which is a significant victory. It was Cassidy that was pinned, which is
It's
quite
huge.
significant.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that from this, it's like, okay, we've taken this victory against Orange Cassidy. That's how Tony Khan's booking works. Lose, lose, lose. Significant victory. Then we put you into a program. So I'm hoping that we get a program and we get a bit more personality. We get a bit more of how they're going to present it on AEW, because obviously it is different from New Japan. It's not the same thing. So now's kind of the time to sort of, if you want to try something different, if you want to kind of ramp up the personality side a bit more, now's the time. But I don't know where they're gonna fit, because I feel like the thing you would have done is probably put them in a faction, because I feel like they would look pretty good in the Callis family, for instance, or as part of the Death Riders, or even perhaps, I mean, they already are in a faction, but they've kind of been split up, it seems like, with Gabe Kidd kind of running his own program, and now Clark
Mm.
Connors. You would imagine, and I think that's for the benefit. I think they should separate Gabe Kidd. I think Gabe Kidd is of a higher placement on the card from what he's shown so far in AEW, and how he's connected more with the crowd. Um, but yeah, I am just a bit hesitant of like, okay, like, is there actual plans for this, or is it just on the fly?
Yeah, 100% agreed. And I don't really feel like we need another heel tag team. And that feels like, oh, we're violent and aggressive. It's like, yeah, you and all 15 other heel tag teams, like
Yeah,
what's
but they're oiled up.
well, that's it.
One of them is,
You've already answered the question I was going to ask, which
and
makes you different.
one's the boyfriend of the women's champion, which seems to be a pattern in AEW, that it's kind of like a bit of, not even nepotism, but I love the fact that we see it more, that the women's boyfriends are getting pushes than the other
Yeah.
way around, than the woman dating a dude and getting the push. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's
Got the
as
tackler
usual.
rub.
Yeah, exactly. It's the women dragging the men up as per usual, but um yeah, I mean, I I don't even know. I'm quite just disinterested really. I think that Gabe Kidd is clearly wild and it's quite humorous. Like, and then I feel like that rubs off on this team. You can't really disassociate them from that.
Yeah, no, you can't. It is comical, but maybe that's kind of what they need to lean into a bit more,
Be a
because,
bit
as we
ridiculous.
say, there is so many, and the Guns did that brilliantly. I mean, they haven't really been on TV as much, the Bang Bang Gang, which is a shame. Especially with Ace Austin, I think that they're quite comprehensive as a team. But I suppose, just theorizing, if Tony Storm is pregnant, maybe Juice will take time off. We've only got one of the Guns in action, and Ace Austin, so, and then Jay White nowhere to be bloody seen. He's on his farm with his
AWOL.
chickens and goats. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
half expecting him to return like a different man, like shaved head, completely like smooth shaven,
oh, that'd be
rocking
weird.
up like Leo Rush with the contacts in.
Oh, please no.
Uh, No, but yeah, like, it worked for them with the glitter on the titties, riding a tricycle. Maybe do some. I mean, if I was gonna characterize this team, I would lean into the craziness, like
Yeah,
straight jackets, like, because no
mental
one's really,
asylum.
the crazy gimmick is quite overdone, but I feel like you kind of see that more in women's wrestling
Yeah,
than men. Like,
yeah, so true.
but then again, the craziness is kind of rationalized in AEW, like Darby Allin.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that's
he's
just
not.
normal.
That's
Don't
not
don't mind him,
questioned.
guys. Don't mind him.
That is just not questioned.
We can have a
That's just
new
Darby.
title battles. That's what this is all about. The most dangerous man, who loves the kids the most, and who's the craziest man.
Oh my fucking God. Yeah, yeah.
Oh dear. Um. Yeah. Sorry. I feel like I'm in a yappy mood today, so I'll move on. Uh. So then we had the new women's tag champions promo, which was a video package. Which,
Mm.
yeah.
Felt very
Um.
try hard to me.
I
Like very,
think.
very extra and yeah, just try hard. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. Like Come on, isn't this a cool team, everyone? Look how cool this team is. Don't you just love this team?
Yeah.
Aren't they so
I, I,
badass?
I think they looked really good together, like side by side. They looked good together, and they looked cool. In my opinion, in this, they looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure whether I prefer visually this to Ford and Bane. Just because it kind of got to a point where Ford was always eating the pins.
Yep.
Ford was never really presented as seriously as Bane. Bane was bailing her out all the time, whereas this is like two people on the same level. I'm
Mm,
not sure about the chemistry, whether that's there, because we haven't really seen enough. But I can't see him being tag champions for long because
me neither.
there's not a lot there. It is a very two-dimensional. And speaking of heel tag teams, even in the women's division, there's an overrun of
Mm,
of that.
yep. Oh,
And
that's
then again, like this was rehashing kind of Willow and Harley and very targeted towards them. So it's like
mm,
reheating those nachos, and it's like I'd rather just not. I'd rather just be like keep them separate and let this team kind of do their thing because we've been
do
running this
something
program for a
different.
long time. They got the belts. That's enough. That is
Mm.
enough. Like we don't need a rematch. We don't need to reheat the nachos. Move on to a new program. Show me why I should care about this team because this is not gonna make me care about this team.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Need something a bit fresher to dig the teeth into, to actually maybe show a bit of character and something like unique.
Yeah. Then we had Kyle Fletcher, who pointed out that he's been undefeated in 2026, unlike Kenny and MJF. He's not happy with the deal of MJF, that, they've been hired out mercenaries to take out Darby, and he thinks that he should be going for the title and they should be bringing the world title to the Callis family, which is interesting. Andrade as well, sharing similar sentiments, a bit of fractures in the Callis family, not so much hive
Yeah.
mind, which we have been speaking on this podcast for a long, long time, and they at least like Okada Takeshita kind of started to plant some of that. But I do think dissension is interesting, and it's
Mm,
one of the wonderful dynamics of a faction, and you don't have to blow up a team over a disagreement. You could have several disagreements over a long period of time, and that's fine too. It just keeps it interesting rather than just just one
just
note.
follow the leader. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and also interesting Cal Fletcher speaking out because I'd argue Don Callis' favourite child. Um, it's his miniature, so it's interesting him kind of speaking out and him speaking out as well. Kind of, I think, naturally aligns him in more of like a face way because he's kind of defying the Callis family, which is also interesting because
Mm,
face is not what we associate with Cal Fletcher. And then he's speaking to Takeshita and he's like, I know you're not a fan of Okada, but I need like your blessings basically for pro Okada and to know like we're still cool G. Like, even if I'm kicking it with Okada. Cal Fletcher is that friend, okay? Like he'll see like someone do you dirty and he's like, well, you haven't done it to me. Takeshita is like he's been done so dirty right now. But no, he came out and it was very sweet. They were like, Protoshita came first. Nothing's gonna come between us. Okada's never gonna drive a wedge. Wink. I would
mm,
love in this storyline moving forward for some like missed communication trope where there's a bit of Chinese whispers or something and Okada is able to stir the pot and kind of bring these two against each other in like an angsty way because he
and then
stirred
the
the pot.
kiss at the end. Oh, sorry, I read too much
Who's
fan
kissing?
fiction.
There's like they all kiss.
They all fucking kiss. No, that's the classic misunderstanding. It's like, oh, I thought you hated me. No, I actually love
It's
you.
very Shakespearean.
Exactly, exactly. Love
Shakespeare,
that
the
idea.
ultimate fanfic um trope. We wouldn't have AO3 without Shakespeare. But yeah, I love angst, I love pain, and I love suffering. So any way that can be added into my wrestling storylines, I'm a fan.
Oh, I love that.
And
So
just
someone
imagine
clip
Okada
that.
just
It's still out of context.
shit eating. He's with his man. He's stolen his man. And he's just like, I'd love it. And
I'm here for that. I'm here
Takeshita
for that.
needs to the more this happens to Takeshi, the more sympathetic he gets, the more we're behind him. I really do feel, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but do you think we're going to get Okada Takeshita for Wembley? Because they've been holding off on this for a
Ooh,
really long time.
I
So
think
I'm
it's a
thinking like,
possibility.
if they wanted to, it feels like they could drag it out that long. And I feel
I
like if
think
I was the
so.
booker, I would do that because I feel like it deserves to be at the biggest event of the
You
year.
know what? We never even mentioned this. We got our tickets.
Yeah, we did. We got our tickets.
Well, Estelle got our tickets to be more precise. Thank you, Queen. And it looks
Lucy
like,
got the accommodation. She is the accommodation queen, which I wanted to say to you off camera, but yeah, you are. Every year you've smashed where we're staying, so
well, it's a team
thank you.
effort. It's a team effort,
It
isn't it?
is.
But yeah, it looks like we're gonna have similar seats to last year, which is great. So that's really exciting. Now we can like
We're
actually really
closer.
start to get excited.
We're definitely closer, I think.
Mm,
And we're also more towards the ramp. And we're on the
yeah, I'm
opposite side,
excited for
so we're
that.
on the hard cam side. I don't think we're actually going to be in the hard cam because it was like the next block of seats over, if that makes sense, where the pricing dropped.
Yes, right.
Because before that it was 250, so I imagine those are hard cam. But still, we're going to be on the camera side. So that'll be an interesting
Different.
flip of perspective and
Mm.
to see the ramp and to see the screens up close. Yeah, we're like in like the mid bowl bit, so we're not on the ground, obviously not. Ooh, gross. And we're like a couple of rows back, so we're quite near the front,
Ah,
if that makes sense, of our block. So the seat finder, it seems to be really, really good seats. So
I
I'm
think
buzzing.
so.
I'm
Me
absolutely
too.
buzzing. So
Yeah, so hopefully we do get Okada Takeshita. That'd be fucking tasty.
hell yeah. Um. So yeah, then we had Mina versus Tekla for the women's title. This was like one of the matches that I cited at the start that I really enjoyed and I really
Yeah.
thought brought it. Tekla's just fucking incredible. That entrance, oh my god. Talk about charisma.
I
Everyone needs
know,
to just
right?
all the charisma voids in AEW. Just go and watch Tekla. Watch her presentation. Watch her
Everything
match.
about her
Watch her
body
character. Watch
language.
how she carries us. Yeah, study her. Tape study her because that's what you need to be doing. What that woman is doing is what you need to be doing.
Everything's
Um,
like extra, everything's over the top, everything's like 100 and it's great.
yeah, exactly. And every match that you kind of fear for her opponent a bit. Like she brings it. It's hard. It's heavy hitting. But then again, her going against Mina Shirakawa, who's equally hard hitting, has a vendetta. Um,
She's
it was just
impassioned.
she. That is a great word for Mina. She's very very impassioned. Um,
I love that. I love this side of Mina. Like it's bringing out this really intense side of her, and like it's emotional and it's very believable that she'd be upset that like her her girlfriend is like been taken down by a mystery person. So of course she's fucking angry. And then you put two of the most charismatic people in the whole world together in this match. It's entertaining as hell.
yeah, definitely. And it's still kind of carrying that thread of the Tony Storm story, which again leads me to believe, well, are we kind of going somewhere with it? Because it's not like, oh, being
Right,
mentioned on commentary. It's
exactly.
like Mean herself is carrying it as though there is going to kind of be some resolve. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like where is this going? I think there was a lot of apprehension going into commentary. Did sell this at the start of the match really well. Like, this is going to be violent. They really built up the two competitors. I will give them that. They did well in this match. Lots of heavy hitting, brutal forearms, strikes. I think it had a decent amount of time, and yeah, it concluded with Tekla trying to get the belt to lash Mina, similarly to how she dealt with Stat. Uh, but the ref saw the ref. She was then able to distract the ref, and she was able to produce a knuckle duster, which she didn't use instantly. Well, she produced it from a bra, which again, just oh my god,
Iconic.
wow, this woman is cool as fuck. I love this woman. I want like a movie about her where we follow like a character, AEW Studios, like some kind of like anti-hero, the Marine, the Spider. I don't know, like I'm obsessed with her. I think she's so fucking cool.
Yeah, she
Um, yeah, and she managed to land it for the pin, but it was in a way where Mina was able to first avoid it,
yeah.
try to hoist her up, and then she planted it. So
And like it
really
wasn't,
nicely done.
yeah, it was nicely done because the referee was sort of looking but also didn't see it at the same time. So it wasn't like a bullshit spot where the referee's distracted for like 10 seconds for no reason. It was like almost done in plain sight, which I thought was quite creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoyed it. And then we had Kenny with Renee. Um, I feel like we basically
Yeah, we've
covered
kind
the
of.
contract signing. Um, he was like, if it's my time and I feel it, I'm going to be the guy to do the job. And then Bailey came out and he was like, I admire you. Oh my God, my Bailey's so wholesome
Mm,
and adorable. Uh, when you beat MJF,
intriguing.
I'll be the first in line for a match. And Kenny
Very
was like in
intriguing.
agreement. He was like, yeah, absolutely. So
Love that.
yeah,
I would like to see it.
me too. I've just turned the page of the notes, and that's why the camera's been knocked off, girl. Um, so then we had the demand. Ricochet was kind of in hot water it was either past week or the week before, when he'd made a bit of an edgy tweet. It was
Oh
something
shit, forgot
like,
about that.
yeah, we didn't actually talk about it on the podcast. He'd been like, oh, a fan had kind of tweeted something, and he'd replied being like, oh, will you have MS or
It
something?
was I'm glad you've got MS. And the tweet wasn't even about anything like that. So he clicked on this person's profile, seen that they've got this disability, and then said that about it and ended up deleting the tweet and apologizing. So,
But then people did point out though that like MJF has done similar things like that in the
yeah,
past.
yeah.
So I think there is kind of, I don't know if that's just things have moved on throughout the previous years, and if MJF said those things today it'd be different, but I don't think it would be. If that version of MJF still, I think if he said it as a character he's now, but I think if the old MJF, who was just like a shithouse heel who said everything all the time, I do think there is a bit of like a double standard, and I think I'm not going to sit here and say that's acceptable to say, but it does open a really interesting realm of conversation of like where does a heel stop? Like, because I'm Jeffrey threw tequila in like a kid's fit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where does it stop? And who should be the one to determine that, and how much do we sanitize it, and how much do we, AEW did kind of try to do that at the start. I don't think this is a clause anymore, but there used to be a thing right at the start where it was like, oh, you can't mention anything about anyone's weight. Weight was kind of off the table. I think if there was like backstage things that we didn't know about, like, right, these are the guidelines, kind of like they've got like the move guidelines of, if you want to use this particular weapon, come to me and we'll discuss it. I think there should be like strong guidelines of, we don't say this. If you want to say it, you come to me and we discuss the context of when you're saying it and who you're saying it to. But I don't think fans should be privy to that, because
Mm,
I just don't think we should. I just think that should just be something that just happens.
yeah,
But I
right.
do think it's difficult, because I'm not saying that particular instance like it was right, but it can be a bit of like a slippery slope, because then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we do away with this, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't do away with it, but then it's like, right, then we go to the next level and the next level and the next level, and it is really difficult, I think. Not that particular instance, but the broad topic around it.
Yeah, of course. And then it's like, how do you tread the line between like, do the rules differ when you're speaking on a live microphone, when you're talking to a live crowd, versus what you say on social media? Can you police what wrestlers put on social media because that's like their own personal platform, arguably? Or should there be like social media conduct guidelines? It's a difficult issue, and yeah, I don't really know what to think of it because I don't know. I feel like I'm not at all saying that people overreacted to it or anything like that, but I was a little bit surprised at the outrage of it because, like you said, I feel like there's been worse things that have been said on social media and in promos. But I guess I don't know. Who am I to say I don't know? But I, it was just, yeah, it did seem like you mentioned, like maybe there was a little bit of a double standard. So it's just very contentious. And I feel like if you're gonna try and, like regulate these types of things and try and not offend people, it has to be like consistent across the board, which is extremely difficult to do.
Yeah, and especially in AEW place where like creative freedom is encouraged,
Yeah, right.
that's a difficult line to sort of walk. Um, but yeah, I guess it's just something to bring up and to kind of conversate around, but I guess without further incidents of him saying particular things or whatever, I don't like there isn't really that much to really go off of. It does feel like the heels of other than MJF, who's very much like committed to the bit in like all elements and however he can be the most offensive, be it he's in Mexico and he's ripping off luchadors masks and
Mm,
almost being physically assaulted outside of the ring, but then again is like that's totally different because it's in the ring, it's wrestling related. But my point
right.
being is there's not a lot of heels like that in AEW or in the wrestling world in general.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't really know. And it's difficult as well, like when like obviously you don't suffer from something or you're not part of that group of people that are being discriminated against. It's
Exactly.
hard
Yeah.
for you to be judge and jury of what can be said and what cannot be said.
Precisely. Precisely. Exactly. And that's kind of what I mean. It's not really like personally was I offended by it? Like, no, but like I can't speak for a group of people. Like, do you know what I mean? Where I it is obviously it's an offensive thing, but then it doesn't
But yeah, it's to get heat in it,
exactly. But then
and
and
it
then it
got heat.
doesn't. It definitely fucking did. It definitely got people talking.
Yeah, I don't think he thought like tweeting that out it would get
It's
the
just one of them
reaction
things,
it
isn't it?
did.
I think maybe we've all sort of been in that situation where you accidentally say something or like you put something on social media without really thinking, and then you're like, oh fucking hell, that was like a heat of the moment thing, and then you, uh,
But he
it's
has treaded
hard.
the line, hasn't he? Like with the whole Andrew Tate thing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like that was very
100%.
close.
Yeah,
He really does walk the wire.
yeah,
And you know, we
100%.
we we at that point did find that given I mean political climate and the manosphere and all that is still very relevant in today's
Yeah,
conversation. Uh but especially at that time, um in particular things that were going on, it seemed even more inappropriate and obviously we
yeah, 100%.
thought that that kind of went beyond heat. So but I don't fucking know, really. I just thought I'd just bring it up. I feel like I'm gonna stop talking about this because it's just we'll spiral and we'll keep going out and we'll keep going out and and I thought this was gonna be a quick episode, but no, apparently not. We're having a great time yapping
Hell
away
no.
today.
Yeah, we are. We'd be
So back
yapping.
to the show. We're dapper yappers. Apologies for losing my cool last time unjustifiably. And this was to do with the blackjack, whatever the fuck that match was called, where Battle Royale, where he was robbed by Jack Perry, um, and now Kenny's getting a match for beating one guy. I beat Kenny. Where is the justice in that? I'm gonna come after Kenny, and it's like in the past when these guys got victories over Kenny, it was like, okay, like I'm not really that into. I wasn't like every a few. I was like, okay, I think that's nice, but it kind of lost its spark when everyone's going over Kenny. You know, it was like it's not a cheat sheet. It's not a quick fast pass to
Main
to
event.
get in aura.
Mm,
Like the MJF one was quite shocking when that happened because that was like one
mhm.
of the first times that he'd been beaten and he was kind of on that like decline. Um, but I guess now looking at the long term, it is cool because you are able to tie in people like Ricochet and it's justifiable heel work in it. It's like yeah, that is an injustice that he just comes and beats one person and kind of jumps the queue. How is that fair? Um, so yeah,
Mhm.
and then again there was a lot of screaming.
There was
The
just a memo
intonation was just
backstage,
not
like,
there.
please bring the energy just bring the energy this week, and people just took that and ran with it.
Clearly. And anyway, we are at the main event. Woo, guys, we made it. Yay, it's nearly over. So this was Roosh versus, Lucy said at the start, wow, this Dynamite went fast. And I'm like, yeah, it's been a breeze. And writing it, I was like, oh, not going to have that much to say. But clearly
And
we've
here we are.
analysed every little thing. Every little thing.
And I'm going to do it again. I'm sorry. I have a
do it again.
bone to pick with this. Why was this the main event? That's my question.
Because of the closing angle.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
why.
mean, yeah, you're right. You're obviously right.
They wanted to
Yes.
end it on that note.
That's the reason. That is the reason. Objectively, you are correct. However, I still think it's wrong. Like, why wouldn't the Women's World Championship be the main event over this? Roosh versus Darby Allin. What?
Because the angle at the end isn't as hot as this.
Yeah, but still, like, it's the match, though. Kayfabe,
The match, yeah. And it was a very short match as well. These main events just seem to be getting shorter and shorter, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, right.
The main events are never actually that good. Like, I never really enjoy them that much because the ad break is always, it's like 5 minutes to fighting, 5 minutes, a long ass ad break in that main event, and then 3 minutes rush. Oh, get that closing angle in the last minute, boom, done.
Yeah.
I don't like the way it's structured. Even when it's a match that's real, not this was a bad match or a bad matchup. Although, yeah, I can see your point that the women's match was better and better on paper. Two people that
And
are more,
higher stakes.
enticing. But even still, even if you had swapped it out, it wouldn't have been as enjoyable of a match because of that main event structure.
Right.
Which just does not make it feel like I don't like it at all.
Yeah,
I prefer the first match. The first match is the peak because you get that opening time. It always gets a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
The first match had minimal ad break. It had like 15 fucking seconds of ad break. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is impacted by that big ad break. You're absolutely right. I never even thought about it until you pointed out, but that is so fucking true. And you do kind of miss out on like the meat of the match.
I'm like a titan. Sorry, yeah, please don't.
The center of the camera as you should be. But yeah, I just can't like I know your reasoning is correct, but I still can't really rationalize like this going on last. That's the main thing on my mind. But yeah, I mean, like you said, this match wasn't bad or anything. It was Darby Allin being Darby. I mean, it was super violent from the start, like as you'd expect. He had this big plaster on his head from last week, so like bearing the wounds.
Well, it's like his skin was peeling off.
I know, right?
Later
I
on in
thought
the
it
match, he
actually
was bleeding. I was like, is your skin peeling? Like,
That is
but I won't put it past you. Like,
exactly
are you
what
actually
went
falling
through my
apart
head.
right now?
That's exactly the same thought that I had as well. And so like we kept the same tone of violence
One
from
brain
last
cell.
week, which I thought was okay, like fair enough. At least Darby's sort of trying to sell what happened to him last week rather than just moving past it. But yeah, it was just him. I mean, good Lord. The stupid bumps this man takes. It's just, I know I sound like a broken record. We say this every time he wrestles, but Jesus fucking Christ. Like the dive, and he just, like, nosedived straight into the barricade, basically. Just spiked himself right on his head. And then he got thrown onto the floor. Like, he's basically just a ragdoll at this point. And as well, it's just a normal ass singles match. Like, and it was treated like it was a DQ. Not a single stake, not a single thing to make this
No, there's
exciting.
no count outs.
Oh, no count outs. Oh my God. Because we know what Derby's like. We better make it no count outs or else everyone's gonna go home disappointed.
Maybe he just has really bad imposter syndrome.
It's just wild. It was absolutely wild. Actually, that's quite a good psychoanalytical point about Darby Allin. I think you might actually be on something there. Like it feels like he has
I don't
something
think
to
so
live
though.
up
I think
to.
he just has lacking brain cells and
Do you
just
think
is like me go on skateboard and me take a dive and me go Mount Everest.
Does
Like,
he have
I
that
think that's
disorder where,
oh,
like some people don't have sort of like nerve endings, they literally can't feel pain? Does he actually have that?
no, I
Because
think he's a
what?
masochist. I think he likes the pain.
Mm, yeah, more likely. More likely, to be honest.
Wrestling is his kink. Uh, I did like the match for what it is, what it was. Roosh was pretty locked in on Darby. It was a pretty typical paint by numbers Darby match in that his opponent
Yeah.
is beating the shit out of him. And then, like I said, we got the big ad break, and then it was like, oh, those last few minutes, Darby Allin, guys, he's back in. He's back in the game.
Oh my God, how is
Um,
he still standing?
Lots of tossing him outside of the ring, lots of
Yeah.
unprotected falls. The sort of flip that he did off the stairs into Roosh, who was
Oh
on
yeah.
barricade, and he moved and just completely ate shit. Taz laughing away
Yeah,
all
right.
along. Um, yeah, and like I think the turning point was like he charged at Roosh and he did a dive to him on the outside, so his back hit his back. It was a very interesting move. And then like a cannonball almost, and then the suicide dive, which he puts the suicide in the suicide dive. Um, then we had Roosh gearing up for the kick in the corner. I really liked the ending though. This was missed, and because of this, Darby was able to lock in. He tried to lock in a few covers, but it was the jackknife that secured the victory. Because at that point, it did feel a bit unbelievable. Like, oh, Darby Allin's back, and Roosh is just such a fucking beast that it was like, really, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won in typical Darby fashion of just scraping by, which I did feel like there was an element of like, oh, this is really nice. I feel really, like, I felt happy. I was like, oh, like that was a really like a feel good. I think that was a feel good ending. I think it could have ended there and been fine, but it was undercut by the fact that Matt Davis spiked Darby on the ramp. Uh, they've been planning this sting for a
Yeah.
while now.
They've been paid off
Andrade
by
was not in
MJF.
agreement. Lance Archer in sunglasses and a cast. I'm like, really, out of all the people who could have done this move, the fucker that's in a cast.
Yeah, right.
Um, Lance Archer is just there for vibes.
Vibes
I wonder how
only.
much he's getting paid to just vibe. Um,
Oh, I know, right?
and he slammed Darby onto the floor. And that was the conclusion.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
So,
I guess what this kind of leans towards is a 20-year long Derby versus the Don Callis family program,
mhm.
which by the time that it's done, it will be so irrelevant him coming to MJF, and MJF probably won't even be champion anymore.
Yeah.
That I reckon, you know what I reckon will happen when they have the Derby MJF program. It will be when MJF has lost his title, and it'll be some like grudge match, some like hardcore match. Be like, you fuck you, you made me lose out, and the Don Callis family, and then because you did that, I couldn't get the title. I don't believe that he's coming within an inch of that title, which is a bit of a shame because it's like that'd be more interesting, and it would be nice to kind of have him have an intelligent opponent who points out these flaws, points out, oh, you're doing it because you don't believe you're good enough. Kind of try to dig into the psychology of Darby, but that's not going to happen. And Darby's not interested.
No.
Darby's not interested in smart wrestling. Darby's not interested in smart wrestling through physically being smart, and Darby's not interested in the psychology. Like Darby is simple. So like
Oh, wow.
that will not happen,
No.
and he
It's
can't be trusted with the world title because of how he carries himself. And it's a shame. I'm saying this, and it sounds harsh, it sounds cutting, but it is a real shame because he's got fucking merch potential. He's got potential to make bank for the company. The crowd connect with him. Kids love him. He's like the modern Jeff Hardy,
Yep.
if you will. He kind of has that sort of anti-hero, anti-establishment aura about him, but
Mhm.
being very frank and very realistic, and the pattern of behaviour that we've seen with his booking, and that I can honestly tell you that I think that's how it's going to go. I don't want it to go like that. I want him to have a serious program. I want him to have a shot at the world title, but to do that, you have to up your game and you
Yeah.
have to change yourself fundamentally in how you wrestle and how you carry yourself to be in those programs because there is a level of prestige there.
Hmm.
Does he want to do that? No. So he
No,
won't. He won't. And he'll just keep doing the same shtick. Round and round we go. Round and round we go. Don't want it, but it's what's going to happen.
I think you're right. He's very authentic to himself, I guess, like loyal to himself. Like he doesn't want to change himself. He loves AEW, but he's not willing to change who he is. So
Like in the video package, in it, of like, oh, AEW lets me be myself. AEW
yeah.
gives me a space for me because AEW isn't about maximizing profits or maximizing from a business standpoint all the time. Although it has gotten better, it's about making the wrestlers happy,
Hmm.
which is good. And that there's edges, and there's wins and losses and W's and L's to everything. But when you get into a point where someone has more potential than what they're showing, and they need someone stern or a boss or management to steer them in that right direction, but that's not going to happen, then personally I just think that's poor business.
Yeah, true, and I'd be inclined to agree with that. And I think that what you're saying about like the MJF story probably going to absolutely nowhere, and by the time we get to it, he won't even have the title anymore. It'll be like,
But that's how he wants it. He wants that
yeah.
out of, like, not a dark match, but almost outside of the realm of this is the mainstream. This is me. This is my match
Mm,
style. This is what I bring to AEW. Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah, and it's a shame, but yeah, I totally see that happening as well. Just like it'll be a long time down the road. Like most things seem to be with Dabba, like very just weirdly long term, and almost like you forget about it, and then suddenly he's like, I have beef with you, and it's not even really relevant anymore, but I still do, and he like doesn't let things go. But yeah, that's
you know
it.
what we didn't talk about?
What?
When the Death Riders post match Moxley's promo to Will Ospreay and how nonchalant he was.
Oh shit, I can't believe I forgot about that.
We don't
Yeah.
have to talk about it, but it just randomly came to my mind that we didn't talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
didn't. Yeah, no, essentially Moxley was like, it's not even really personal for me, but Osprey, if you want a grudge match, well, you've got it. But don't let your mouth get you into trouble, and that was essentially it, which I thought was a very interesting because it's like Moxley's so nonchalant, he don't care.
Mm. Yeah, because I just bring it up because I know we were talking at length about how is he going to present himself? Is it going to muddy his character? Um, but I liked the way he kind of played it off the cuff and keep talking, boy. Keep talking. It's like a child, like a naughty child, and you're like, you can keep going. You're going to lose your devices. You're going to get a lock on your iPad. So, you know.
Oh, so
But on
funny.
that note, I guess we'll lock in the rating for this week. Myself, while I was watching, and I still have the same feeling, I would give this episode an 8.5, though maybe I could be talked down to an 8. But I do think an 8.5. No, I'm locking in 8.5 because especially the Kenny stuff was fantastic. So no, 8.5.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try and talk you down because I feel like I said right at the top of the show, like I felt like it went fast and I was entertained by it, so I'd agree with that. And we had some good progression with a lot of
Really
key
fun
stuff.
chat as well about the
Yeah,
episode. Really
absolutely.
enjoyable watch, enjoyable yap.
Enjoyable
And if you
yap,
have any
as
questions
always.
for the Atomic Promoter, again, we'll remind you because I feel like this was long, so maybe you've forgotten. Please leave those in the comment section. We're filming on Sunday, so make sure you lock them in before then.
Yeah.
Also, definitely, I'd advise before the episode goes out to go have a research, have a look up some matches, look up what Atomic are doing, because it feels. I haven't seen a show, but from seeing what I've seen and from how you talk about them, it feels very exciting.
It
And
is
it
very
feels like some
exciting.
of the hottest talent that not only you've talked about, but other people I've seen talk about when be it fans or people in the business have talked about who they think are up and coming. There's a lot of talent that I've recognised from Atomic. So shame it's
Yeah.
in Liverpool, it's far away. I wouldn't mind coming to
You
watch at
would,
some
I
point.
think you'd
Liverpool
love it.
excursion.
I think you would love
Yeah, you've
Atomic.
you've bigged it up. You've hyped it up a
It's
lot, and I trust your judgment, because the things you've hyped up in the past, and I've gone to see like um KOW blew me away.
Odyssey,
So
the one in Markham.
Odyssey, oh my god.
Yeah. No, that's all right. No, I wish you'd come to KOW. You'd love KOW as well. It's a shame you've not been to a KOW, but yeah. Yeah, Odyssey was
No,
great.
I need to go to KOW. Yeah,
Atomic
that's
is
on the
like if
agenda.
you imagine like the Odyssey show like levels of production, like storytelling, but a bit more edgy and a little bit
Mm.
although it is still family friendly, there's more like adults in the crowd and it's less sports entertainment than you have in Markham. That's how I describe Atomic in a nutshell. But yeah, we're going to talk all about that in our very special interview with Chris from Team Atomic. So, as Estelle said,
Woo.
get some questions in, or if you've been to an Atomic show, any memories or any fun things, any observations from Atomic, or if you've watched their shows on YouTube, they're all up for free on the Atomic YouTube channel. So just search that. They put all the full shows up on their channel completely for free, so you can check that out if you're interested. But other than that, yeah, thank you so much for listening to our Dynamite review this week. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a like, tell your friends, tell two friends if you want, and follow on Spotify and leave a 5-star rating. Spotify, if you're listening on there, that'll help us to reach more people. So, as always, thank you so
Can I
much.
just say one more thing?
Of course you can.
It was a clip, and I don't know how old it was. To be fair, 'cause it came from TikTok, but it made me laugh. It was Vince Russo, and he was talking with his shitty fucking podcast it has with Jonathan Coachman. Maybe that's something we should do. Reaction to terrible wrestling podcasts. Watch one and just kind of probably start beef.
Oh,
Which I imagine if we did start beef, we probably would get a response from someone like Russo.
controversy is cash, as they say.
But he was talking, bro. He was talking about how wrestling fans are uncool, wrestling fans are nerdy. I think what he was trying to say, but he wasn't verbalizing it well, that wrestling has lost its edge, which yeah, definitely. But it made me laugh because he was talking about, yo, bro, no one's cool anymore. Like Drew McIntyre, he's cool. Logan Paul, he's cool, and it's like fuck me, man. Like
So
you
out
are
of
so
touch.
out of touch, bro. It's unfucking real. But it was just an interesting topic of conversation of wrestling being uncool. But I think
Oh,
people
it is
like that
cool,
just need
yeah.
to realize wrestling is mainstream. Wrestling is doing
Mm.
great great sales, great ticket sales. It may not on Nielsen scale, TV it's not, but streaming, um, in terms of things like that, it is doing well, and it is never going to be what it was because culture isn't what I appreciate. I'm just opening a tirade now when Lucy's trying to wrap up. But wrestling is like fuck me. There's not free channels on the TV. There's not
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses 1989 Appetite for Destruction. There will never be another Appetite for Destruction. There will never be another Stone Cold Steve Austin. There will never be what there was in the day. Kids, oh, we're playing marbles in the street and kicking a football instead of playing on
Drinking
our
from a
video
hose
games. Like, fuck
pipe.
me, granddad. Like, times have changed. People have changed. Like, I just find it ridiculous. Yeah, just random little mini rant there without
Oh,
opening it too deeply.
but still, isn't Logan Paul just so cool and Prime? Am I right? That's what the kids are all into, drinking Prime and the Paul brothers, etc. It's certainly an
Yeah.
interesting discussion, and it reminds me of our episode about
Oh,
is wrestling
plug.
is wrestling working class? I mean, what was the
Is
episode
wrestling
called?
mainstream?
Is wrestling mainstream? Go check that one out, because yeah, that's a really good episode. It reminds me of that conversation, but yeah. There's a lot of people who will always look back to the Attitude Era and yearn for those years, but it's never coming back. The same way, like it's just nostalgia. But let us know what you think about that discussion as well in the comments. We've got so many fucking talking points. There's
Who
really
is
no
cool? What
reason.
wrestlers are cool? Let us know.
What does cool mean? Like, yeah, who do you think is cool? Who's mainstream? who's down with the kids. But I think if we covered everything on our minds now, are we going to actually wrap up? I'm gonna just hit the stop recording button before we get started on anything else. Thank you, as always, for listening.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bad.
I wish you died in the womb.